Moving on, we'll be talking about film drones, indoors and outdoors. So lights, cameras, drones. Let's explore their magic. Ladies and gentlemen, the managing director at Skynamic, Gabriel Manz. Please, Gabriel, join me on stage. Enjoy.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm from a bit of a different field. We're not doing 3D. We're actually doing 2D, and Thomas asked me to share some insights, what's going on in our field. I am Gabriel, one of the founders of Skynamic. Skynamic is an aerial drone service provider founded in 2012 in a small city near Frankfurt in Germany. Now we are in feature films, car commercials, broadcast, and since we flew through that Gigafactory of Tesla in Berlin, we are also in corporate films doing lots of factory flights. But it was not always like that. Many years we needed to handle complicated drones. We needed to build them up on our own. We needed to develop gimbals and drones. And now I can finally admit in public that I really never liked the big ones. And I'm gonna take you on a journey why and why I'm so happy today. These are the little fellows we're working with today for example broadcast. I have one here, I'm gonna pass it around. And you can see on this slide already how fast things change. You can pass it around. You can't break it, almost. But please bring it back at some point. Yeah, these are the little ones we have. These are the smallest we have with a weight of 150 grams right now. And the drones you saw, or the drone you saw on the first slide, which is a 20 kilo cinema package worth something around 120,000 euros in the desert. That was a huge amount of work to do quite normal shots in the end. So that were like wide shots, you know, from all sorts of movies. Actually, this is me in the on the left. Please have a look on what's possible today with FPV drones. Way more dynamic. Have a look here. So this is an overview of what we're doing now. They can go up to 180, 220 kilometers an hour. We worked with this one before he went into politics. So all these shots are done with smaller drones like 900 grams, 500 grams. And handling them is a big, big difference to all these years before that. The good part about the FPV drones, you can sit somewhere, you can fly around obstacles because you're flying through the goggles. You don't need to actually see the drone light of sight all the time. That's a huge change as well. Now the clients can wish for almost any shot, even through tight gaps. But it was big thanks to my pilots. They're incredible what they do. Most of them started as teenagers or kids flying RC planes or flying helicopters. And then the girls came into play, and then the hobby became boring. And 5-6 years later, the drones showed up, and it was interesting again. Yeah, this is an insight into the older days. We've been lucky enough. We were traveling all over the globe. We needed to track lots of boxes, and there were always an issue going on. I was constantly worried in the hotel room if the next day will turn out great. This is one of our pilots, Andy. He has an engineer background, and he was constantly getting me out of something because the clients ask for a new lens or for a new lens motor. And you can see in remote areas there's always something to fix. So there was a good amount of stress that came to it, and that reached a level where it was somehow unbearable because you never really knew if everything goes well. You have different factors like environment. Sometimes there is wet environment, you have rain, you have storm, you have humidity, you have air pressure. And for example, this drone we built on our own. There are so many different components married together, video transmission, gimbal, flight controller, motors, batteries, all sorts of things. And you need to take good care of them. But it comes with a bit of a price. It's, for all of you, it was quite prestigious to have these big drones when you want to work in cinema industry, because when it's big, then it's good. This was the somehow the old phrase. And despite they were so big, the limits were quite. We have lots of limits actually. For example, the video transmission. Nowadays with a Mavic, it's unthinkable, but 5 years ago, we were not able to go further than 400 meters. And imagine the director talking to you when he was with a smaller drone on the recce, and then we showed up with the big gear, and we were just able to go 400 or 500 meters. This is how we work. There's one pilot, and there's one camera operator, and the camera operator is talking to the director and to the director of photography. Logistics and batteries, this was the biggest issue. We were constantly traveling with big gear, with big boxes, lots of boxes. We need to go to the toll customs, and we need to handle batteries that are not allowed on the plane, or we need to send them by truck, by land. So there was a constant worry if we can make it. For example, here we went to Bolivia and into the Salt Lake Desert. So this is how we showed up at the airport most of the time. And on the left you see our camera operator Alejandro from the Spanish office. So right now we're having an office in Frankfurt, in Berlin, in Barcelona, Spain, and in Cape Town, South Africa. And this is why you're going to see different teams. This is Alejandro balancing in a new lens. So each lens needs to have a new calibration. Sometimes the stuff were so big they even gave us trucks, like this one on the right. Yeah, there was always work around the work, and it was like just 10 to 20% of actual filming and flying. Everything else was permit, logistics, and setting up gear. We need to have several people handling the drones, for example, on a boat, on a pickup truck, on a tank, on a rooftop, whatsoever. And the biggest elephant in the room, safety. We are on quite some big shows, and there are always lots of people. Luckily, never any issue happened. I'm so happy we survived the era of big drones without any major problem. But yeah, you rely on the drone, but you never really know. Before the drones got smaller, they got bigger. This is 4 years ago. You can tell from the masks where we are in time. Yeah, this is a Netflix film with Jennifer Lopez in Spain, and they ask for bigger lenses and for bigger cameras. This is a close-up of the latest model in the big drone area. That's an Alta X by Freefly from America. We modified them to our needs, but by then you have 200,000 euros in the air, and insurances went up, and all sorts of logistics went up again. In 2002, in our commercial sector, there was a first sign of change because the FPV drones became digital, and they became way more reliable, and the motors became stronger, and you could carry extra cameras. And that peaked into the Tesla Gigafactory fly-through. I brought you a little behind the scenes of what went on there. They were actually so great to work with. They said, the door is open, do what you want, and we did. For example, they slowed down the press. Initially, it was way faster, but they really wanted to have such a video. By the way, the bowling FPV drone video was first, so we were too late. But Tesla saw the video and they wanted something like that. Yeah, since then we did lots of factory flights all around the world, in Asia and America and Europe. All right, so the commercial sector was solved, in my mind. We had smaller drones, smaller options, but the feature film sector was still big. But that changed during one specific project, and that was Wars Andor 2. In the beginning, we were coming with this one. We drove all the way down from Frankfurt to Barcelona because the batteries were too big to bring it on the plane again. And in the beginning, we were using this one. By the way, the Wars Andor 2 thing aired this week on Disney, so have a look. And a few weeks later, this is another insight on how to handle these big ones. On the left, there is somebody doing photogrammetry. A few days later, we got the prototype of the DJI Inspire 3, and you can tell from the picture how happy I am. Because everything you just saw went down into that tiny drone. It's unbelievable, but in this drone there is a full-frame 8K camera, and everything else improved a lot. You have a way better FPV camera in the nose, and you can shoot RAW, you can shoot ProRes, you can swap lenses, and you can go up to 2 or 3 kilometers. So that was a huge improvement. You don't need to calibrate any lens anymore. You can swap lenses in seconds. This is a part of the Star Wars trailer, and we were quite lucky because there wasn't behind the scenes, and it actually showed us using the Inspire 3 prototype on set.
The size and scale of this production is unparalleled. The sets and the costumes are breathtaking.
Everyone does the homework, everyone takes the time, and you can tell.
Proceed.
This is it. This is what you live for.
Yes. So the good part was, since we worked for this show, there was no discussion with any other clients because they were worried, can you bring the big drones again because they have such a great camera? And I told them, no, it's great. Star Wars liked it, and then discussion was off the table. And this is an insight on the car commercial shots you can do with that new drone. It's 1.5 years, 2 years now. You can switch to slow motion, mid-air, and you can track vehicles pretty low, always working in a team of 2. Temperature, for example, is always a problem, but this one can work in minus 30 degrees, so this is a good thing as well. A few weeks later, after the Star Wars thing, another big name knocked on our doorstep, and that was House of Dragons. And again, they were using the small drone, the Inspire 3, and that personally made me so happy because I knew from this point onwards I never need to use the big drones again. All the logistics, all the problems, all the worry, everything is gone because these big shows, they are happy with the quality and results we can achieve with that. So I sold all of them. This is logistics in 24. You can bring up the drone fully built up into our van, and you can move location, and you are ready to go in like 1 minute. This is a closer look on how it sits on our Macliner chart. This is us in the mountains of Austria shooting for Netflix, and there's me on the left doing a car commercial in Spain. So it's been used, it's the standard drone now for commercial and feature film. All right, is the still drone? Is the little drone still around? Yeah, this is the update that makes me even more happy because the FPV drones, they went so small now. We managed to get a drone just 150 grams of weight, and that's very useful to do broadcasts. You can even fly over people indoors. There's a 1080 stream and there's a 4K recording at the same time. And what you can do with such a drone, I'm going to show you in a minute. But please have a look. Last year, we still needed to use an action cam, a separate camera. That means extra stabilization, extra filters, extra exposure, lots of work. And this year, DJI brought out the new DJI O4 FPV transmission, and that changed the whole game. I'm going to come to that in a second. So this is what's possible now in the broadcast industry. This is something like 3 or 4 months ago. It's an MMA fighting league. I never thought we could bring something useful to such a league, but they had a good idea. Concerts, all sorts of live events. So now we are a cable cam, we are a dolly cam, we are a crane, we are a steady cam. You can actually fly inside the cage during breaks, during the between the fights. You can do all sorts of things that were never possible before. And since you are indoors, the aviation authority, they don't have a say. You just need the permission of the owner or the host. Yeah. One of these events actually took place in Prague here in January. We've been there as well. Yes, lots of new angles, lots of new possibilities, and I'm quite sure in the near future, big acts like Taylor Swift or O2 or whatsoever, they're gonna carry a small drone on their back, following them, flying around them, and then going to the crowd and stuff like that. And this is a good example on how useful the latest technology involvement is. This is us flying for Red Bull at the WRC rally. And with the new DJI O4, we were able to track the car live, flying through a tunnel, still streaming while being on the other side of the valley. And then we were sending the signal via Starlink back to base. You can see the little drone following the car. Yes. Another example, they can go up to 200 kilometers an hour, which is good, but have a look on the range we're getting now with the new transmission. We were able to track him something like 2 kilometers, 2.5. while maintaining such a speed. Yeah, he's having a hard time to get rid of us. And that opens up a huge range of possibilities for all broadcast and event owners, right? This was just 2 weeks ago. You saw the drone taking off from his hand. This is ice hockey, but now all sorts of sports asking for that service. Handball, concerts, all sorts of things. Yes, this is us. We are 20 people by now. This is some of the Germans. Very happy about the small drones now. All right, what is next? Now drones can go 2K. They are 220 miles an hour, kilometers an hour. They are just 150 grams. What is the next big step? This is what we need to ask ourselves all the time to stay ahead of the game. And this could be it. So this is a prototype I'm sharing with you here. It's not finished. It was on no job so far. We attached a tiny gimbal to an FPV drone, now combining all the advantages from the FPV world together into the dual operated world. And I'm quite sure people are gonna love it because the FPV pilot can actually see where he's going. For example, the cage fight, when the pilot wants to see the cage, he needs to go sideways and he can't see is there something on the left or right. And this is solved now. The pilot can see where he's going and the camera operator is gonna do his thing. That's it. Big thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, big clap for Gabriel. Amazing.
Thank you.
A quick one.
Yeah.
Which drone model do you prefer for indoor flights?
For indoor flights, yeah, actually the small FPV thing you saw.
Yeah.
And we have all sorts of FPV drones. Some are ducted with propellers, some are protected with foam. So I love all the drones that are below 500 grams.
Amazing. One more clap for Gabriel. Thank you so much.